Okay, so today we are looking at inequalities. Go ahead and put your name on here. And your hour. This is second hour, but if you're watching this video, you might be in a different hour. Okay, for inequalities, we solve them the exact same way we solve an equation. The only difference is that instead of being equal, we are unequal. So instead of being x is equal to 5, x could be greater than 5 or less than 5 or greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So for our inequalities, we have 4 symbols. Grab these. They are as following. A less than symbol goes this way. So it's pointing to the left. The arrow is pointing to the left. A greater than symbol is pointing to the right. So the point is going to the right. A less than or equal to symbol is the exact same thing as a less than symbol with a little line below it. It's like a less than symbol and then half of an equal sign. And a greater than or equal to, same thing, greater than symbol with a line underneath it. Here is how I remember the difference between less than and greater than. Because left and right is just another thing to remember. And so then I have to remember less than and greater than and left and right. So instead, what I use is my fingers. If you use your hands, don't flip them around weird, but just put them like this. If you make an L with your left hand, so your left hand makes an L, that makes a less than symbol. So left, L, less than, all go together. See how that makes the same as less than symbol? Right hand, right, makes a right, goes to the right, and then I just remember the R in greater goes to the right, okay? So the left is L. You also have your notes, so as long as you guys can look back at your notes and make sure that you've got the right symbol, you'll be fine. Okay, so the symbols are different, and then we have one extra rule. Our one extra rule, if you're watching this on the video, what I was doing, let me zoom out. Left, my left hand makes an L, makes a less than, my right hand is greater than. Okay, so the one extra rule is that when you multiply or divide, by a negative number, you have to flip your sign. So what that means when we say flip is we flip it this way. So if it was less than, it becomes greater than. If it was greater than, it becomes less than. If it was less than or equal to, it would go greater than or equal to. If it's greater than or equal to, it would go less than or equal to. So it just goes back and forth with those. Okay, so that's new rule right there. That's the purpose of this other half sheet of paper. So, everyone got those 6 things written down? Anybody still need that? Okay, flip to that other sheet of paper then. Okay, this is kind of small because it was on a whole sheet, but I printed it on a half sheet because I didn't want to waste paper, so do your best. I don't know if you'll be able to read it up here, but you should be able to read it on your page. What this is it is going to kind of explain to us why we need to flip the inequality sign. So over here on the left, well, we've got a number line that we can use to help us to remember which numbers are to the left and which numbers are to the right. Go ahead on this number line. I want you to write less on the left and write greater on the right. All right. Right here, we have a little table. It has 6 different inequalities written on it. And this first column says, if true, proceed. I'm going to tell you that all of these are true. So go ahead and write T, 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 T for true. Those are all true. Okay. So these inequalities are 1 is less than 4. That's true. Negative 4 is less than 6. That's true. Negative 4 is smaller than positive 6. Negative 1 is less than 5. Negative 3 is less than 3. Negative 2 is less than 10. And 2 is less than 8. We're going to do the first couple of these together. And then I'm going to have you work on some of them on your own. What you're going to do is this action in this column right here. So this action says add 3 to both sides. So we have 1 is less than 4. We're going to add 3 to both those. So we're going to do 1 plus 3. So that would be 4. And then on the other side, we do 4 plus 3. So that's 7. Is 4 less than 7? Yes. So then we write down that that is still true. So you're going to do the action and then write down whether it's still true or not. So we did that one together. I want to go do the very last one together. And then I'm going to have you do the ones in between on your own. And then we'll check them together. So 2 is less than 8. It wants us to divide both sides by negative 2. What is 2 divided by negative 2? Negative. You multiplied. 2 divided by 2. Negative 1. Awesome. Thank you. So we've got negative 1 is less than. And then now we need to do 8 divided by negative 2. Negative 4. Perfect. Thank you very much, Jackson. So we've got negative 1 is less than negative 4. Is negative 1 smaller than negative 4? No. If we look on a number line, it's kind of tricky once we get to negatives. But negative 4 would be right here. Negative 1 would be right here. Negative 1 is bigger than negative 4. So this statement, negative 1 is less than negative 4, that is false. So we're going to put an F there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so that we're not just sitting here recording silence. So, what? 9:18. We only have 30 minutes left. All right, so negative 4 is less than 6. When we subtracted 3 from both sides, we got negative 7 is less than 3. Is that true or false? True. Awesome. Okay. When we did negative 1 is less than 5, and we multiplied both sides by 2, we got negative 2 is less than 10. Is that true or false?
True.
True. Miles, can you guys put away your Chromebooks, please? Negative 3 is less than 3. We multiplied both sides by negative 2. So negative 3 times negative 2 would be positive 6. Positive 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6. Is positive 6 less than negative 6?
True. No.
No. Having $6 is not less than having negative $6. Okay. And then negative 2 is less than 10. Divide both sides by 2. So that's going to give us negative 1 is less than 5. That one is still true. Okay, so down here, we're going to see if we can figure out the pattern. There are 2 that were false. The 4th one and the 6th one. What actions did we do on those? So we multiplied by a negative 2. We divided by a negative 2. So, did multiplying and dividing always make them false? No. Only multiplying and dividing Remember our rule we wrote down in our notes? When do we have to flip that sign? Look back. When do we flip that sign? By a negative. Is that what you're going to say, Kiana? Yes, go quick. So, the specific action that causes it to become false is when you multiply or divide by a negative. In order to make this true without changing any of the numbers or changing the action, what we can do is flip our sign. Good morning. Go ahead and grab these two things, Taylor. Jackson, get your, or not Jackson. Chad, get your feet off her desk. There you go. Okay, so to summarize what we learned here, it's the exact same rule as what we just gave you, which is when you multiply or divide by a negative. Oh, I'm off the screen. Sorry. Tell me when I do that. You must flip your sign. Okay. So go ahead and get that note written down, and then we're going to go back and do our examples and practice actually flipping that sign now.
Is this our assignment?
No, that is the two things that we're doing as notes right now.
Yeah. I think
Okay, finish writing this down if you haven't already. Did I give you the wrong thing? Okay.
I think you gave me the assignment.
Yeah.
I got this one.
Okay, and then you need, okay, yeah, you need one of these. Sorry, I have too many half sheets of white paper over here. Thank you. Good reading. All right, we are going to hop back over to our other sheet. We're going to do our couple of examples. We've got a couple where we need a flip, and we got a couple where we don't need a flip. The good news is all of the solving is types of solving that we already know how to do from when we did equations. So when we solve an inequality, it's the same steps as when we solve an equation. The only thing that's different is we got that sign in there. So negative 3x plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 12. To solve that, the first thing that we're going to do, just like if it were an equation, is subtract 3 from both sides. So I've got negative 3x is less than or equal to, please focus, negative 15. So we're back on our note sheet. Then, to get x by itself, we need to divide both sides by that negative 3. So divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. This is when lights and sirens should be going off in your head that you need to flip your sign. Reason why we flip our sign is because we divided by a negative. So I put a little note to myself there that says flip. So when I look back at my notes, I remember I flipped my sign on that one. So now I'm going to have x by itself, because my negative 3 is canceled, if you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative. So I divided by a negative here. So then I flip my sign. Instead of having a less than or equal to sign, I now have a greater than or equal to sign. And then we've got negative 15 over negative 3, which is positive 5. Because with an inequality, we don't have just one answer. Our answer is everything that is greater than or equal to 5. So that could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I could go all day. We are also going to graph our answers. So I forgot at the beginning of notes to put it up there. So we need to go back to our little table up here. When we graph our answers, if it is less than or greater than, we use an open circle. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, we're going to do a colored in circle. So add this into your table up at the top. I forgot it at the beginning. And I distinctly remember forgetting it at the beginning last year too. Then how you know which way it goes is you put an arrow on it. So less than is to the left, greater than is to the right. Less than or equal to is the left, greater than or equal to is to the right. So now we have 4 different things. So these are the 4 different ways we graph our answers. So if it's not or equal to, it's just less or greater, you do an open circle. If you've got the or equal to in, you close in the circle. If it's either type of less than, you go to the left. If it's either type of greater than, you go to the right. Sorry, I forgot that. Okay, now let's go back to our example and graph it. So we've got x is greater than or equal to 5. So we'll do a closed circle at 5. I like to do it right above the number line so I can see it nicely. And then greater than or equal to goes to the right. Okay, I want to point something out, and the thing I'm going to point out is actually the point of the arrow. See how this goes this way? That point of the arrow is the same as this point of this arrow. Those will always match on your answers. Okay, any questions right now? Okay, we've got 3 more. Let's get through these so that you guys have enough time to work on your assignment. We've got 7x plus 5 is greater than negative 2. So this next one, we're going to start by getting rid of that plus 5. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides. We've got 7x is greater. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Okay, then to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Divide by 7, divide by 7. Did I divide by a negative? What did I divide by? 7. I divided by a positive because I divided by 7. So even though I'm going to get a negative answer, it is still dividing by a positive, so we do not flip on this one. So now we've got x is greater than negative 7 divided by 7 is negative 1. So to graph that, we're going to do an open circle above negative 1 because it's just greater than, not greater than or equal to. And then we go to the right. Okay, can we just stop the distraction so that we can get done, please? Okay, flip it over. We got 2 more on the back. I wanted to have one example of each of these different types of fractions that we dealt with yesterday. So x plus 2 all over negative 1. The first thing that we're going to do is get rid of that dividing by negative 1. We do that by multiplying by negative 1. I just multiplied by a negative. What does that mean? I got to switch my sign. So I've got x plus 2 on the left now, because these guys cancel. And then I have 8 times negative 1, which is negative 8. And then I flip my sign. Now it is a less than sign. Okay. Any questions on that one? No, I just haven't done the last step. Okay, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides then. And we get x is less than -8 minus 2 is -10. So I've got x is less than -10 as my solution. For a less than problem, we use an open circle and we draw our arrow to the left. Hey, the very last one, x over 5 minus 2 is less than or equal to 4. Does anyone remember from when we did equations like this yesterday? What's my first step here? Add 2. I got to get rid of that 2 first. So add 2 to both sides. We've got x over 5 is less than or equal to 4 plus 2, which is 6. And then to get x by itself, this is currently division. Opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. I never multiplied by a negative or divided by a negative, so I don't need to flip any signs. I get x is less than or equal to 6 times 5, which is 30. We will do a closed-in circle at 30. And then we will put an arrow going to the left. Okay. Any questions right now? Okay. So we are going to glue these things in now. Since we've got 2 things, you can just glue them on the left and right side. Or if you're already used your left side, you can do front and back. But what that's going to look like is put this guy, let me zoom out more, on this side, fold it down, put glue here, and then this one can just get glued here. So we'll glue everything down. We have the rest of class today to work on our assignment. Yes, if you don't finish it, you can finish it in seminar, you can finish it in study skills. And if you have questions about it, I have a feeling map testing next Monday and Tuesday. It's going to take more than just Monday, but it shouldn't take the whole day Tuesday. So if you have questions or need help, you should be able to get help on Tuesday. Okay? So get started now and then get help on Tuesday. So I glued this to the left and I glued this to the right. I only glued the top down there so I can flip it up and still see the stuff on the back. Whoop. Okay, I'm going to pause this notes video or actually stop it because we're done.